A great quarterback is a coveted piece to any NFL franchise. Some franchises go decades, or in the Chicago Bears case, centuries, without finding their man. When you finally find your guy, you do whatever it takes to build a team around him. Set him up for success and make him happy. For Deshaun Watson, he took the ladder too far. From top 5 quarterback to overpaid bust. This is the satisfying downfall of Deshaun Watson. A common theme throughout Deshaun Watson's career is immediate impact. He proved this quickly during his college career as he started 8 games as a freshman. Year 2 saw Watson shot out of a cannon as he dominated with over 4,000 passing yards and over 1,100 rushing yards, with a combined total of 47 touchdowns. Watson would finish 3rd in the Heisman Trophy race behind 2 unknown running backs, Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry. I think we'll need a "What Happened To" series to figure out where those guys have been for the past decade. Deshaun Watson would only play 1 more season in college. This season would be his best college season, the 5,000 yards. His efficiency would lead the Clemson Tigers to their first national championship victory since 1981. Deshaun Watson would forego his senior season at Clemson to enter the NFL draft. The 2017 draft was loaded with talent. Seemingly the entire first round was filled with players who would make immediate impacts. TJ Watt, Christian McCaffrey, Jamal Adams, and Patrick Mahomes were all drafted in the first round, just to name a few. Watson was drafted with the 12th overall pick by the Houston Texans. He was the 3rd quarterback selected behind Mahomes, of course, and Mitchell Trubisky, who was Chicago's selection with the 2nd overall pick. Deshaun Watson showed a lot of poise and toughness during training camp. We know he did not lack in the skill department, so it was just a matter of time before he took over the starting job for the Houston Texans. It didn't take long at all as Watson was handed the keys to the franchise on day 1. Again, he made an immediate impact. He didn't blow the doors off the building in the first 2 games, as he went 1-1 and only averaged 113 passing yards in his first 2 contests. Week 3, it all clicked for Watson. He would average just over 290 yards per game. The Texans would go 2-3 over their next 5 games. They were competitive in loss, however, only losing by 3 points to the Patriots and the Seahawks, and 8 points to the Chiefs in those 3 losses. Week 9 would stop the train on the tracks as Watson would suffer an ACL injury ending his rookie season. Watson would return with a vengeance and lead the Texans to an unfamiliar place, the playoffs. Watson was an MVP candidate in 2018 and 2019. Both seasons saw playoff berths for the Texans. Watson was 1-2 in the playoffs, leading to a hopeful 2020 season. Unfortunately for the Texans, they fell off the face of the earth in 2020, going just 4-12. Although the Texans were terrible, Watson had his best season yet as he threw for nearly 5,000 yards and 33 touchdowns. Deshaun Watson was accused of more than 20 incidents of sexual harassment and sexual assault. The first incident was a massage therapist who claimed to have been touched with a certain part of his anatomy before asking her to let him put Percy in the playpen. Watson immediately went to X, aka Twitter, to deny any allegations. Following the claim, a second and third therapist came forward. As of this recording, according to the attorney on the case, 22 women have contacted his office with similar claims. On March 11, 2022, a grand jury in Harris County decided not to indict Watson on charges of harassment and sexual misconduct. The jury's decision is not to assess guilt or innocence. Their determination is based on whether the prosecutors have enough evidence to bring the case to court and prove the defendant's guilt. A Real Sports interview in May of 2022 revisited the allegations with 2 of the accusers. Following the episode, another woman came forward with allegations, bringing the number to a staggering 24. Watson's legal team says the lawsuit is frivolous and the claims are a lie. Watson would be suspended for 11 games. 11? Why 11? Why not 10 or 12? Well, you see, the NFL itself, in a totally shameless manner, decided that he would be suspended for exactly 11 games, so he could make his valiant return against, you guessed it, the Houston Texans. This was so blatantly obvious and honestly kind of embarrassing. Oh, and a $5 million fine. Crippling for any of us, but a drop in the bucket for this dude. Which leads us to our trade. Scandal or not, the Cleveland Browns saw an opportunity to finally get their guy, so shamelessly they took it. On March 18th, 2022, the Browns agreed to trade 5 picks to the Houston Texans for Watson. 3 first-round picks, 1 third-round, and 1 fifth-round. As of the recording of this video, the Texans have selected guard Kenyon Green and defensive end Will Anderson Jr. with the first-rounders, and wide receiver Tank Dell, who seems to be on the verge of a breakout. All that, and the Texans still have Cleveland's 5th and first-round picks for the 2024 draft. Was it worth it? Who won out in the trade? Is it too early to tell? Let us know down below. Upon executing the trade, the Cleveland Browns gave Watson a massive contract of 5 years, $230 million. All $230 million guaranteed. Deshaun Watson, now a Cleveland Brown, has to spend the first 11 games with his new team on the sidelines. The plan for the Browns was to stay competitive until Watson came back. But remember, they're the Browns. They don't stay competitive. They would go 4-7 leading into their 12th game against the Texans. Winning the remaining 6 games would be the only way to get in the playoffs, and that's not a guarantee. The Browns would obviously beat the Texans in the high-profile return game with no ulterior motive. However, they would only win 2 of the next 5, missing the playoffs. Year 2 of the contract would see a much more competitive Browns team. This can be credited to an extremely good defense, and not so much their $230 million man. Watson was able to match his 2022 total in touchdown passes with 7, and beat his previous year's total in yards by 13. These are subpar numbers. These are good numbers for a rookie playing his first season, or a guy who hasn't seen much time on the field getting his first chance at a starting gig. On the other hand, for one of the highest paid humans in sports history, these numbers are laughably bad. But as they say, it ain't over till it's over. There's still plenty of time left in the contract for Watson to right this ship. Now let's move on to Week 10, where Deshaun Watson would leave the game with an injury that would require surgery, ending his season. The Browns essentially paid a 5-year max contract to get a quarterback for 4 years. Was it worth it? Deshaun Watson was one of the most exciting college prospects. His combination of passing and running skills shook the NCAA and eventually the NFL. Combination of greed, injuries, and, shall we say, extracurricular activities caused a downward spiral so drastic, we have to wonder if he can be considered a bust. The Browns still have 3 years of Watson's insane contract remaining. There's still time to turn it all around. But will they? What do you think of the video? Do you think Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns will be contenders next year? We'd love to hear from you down in the comments. Thanks for watching.